Okay. So the Xbox Series S. Show me. I've been wanting to see this for a while.
Let me hear you.
Okay.
If you're ready for the brand new thing.
There's the Xbox logo. And there it is. It's all white, unlike the X, which was all black. Next gen series performance, okay. Smallest, is that for real? The smallest one ever? It does seem pretty small. 60% smaller than the X. Next gen speed, NVMe SSD. So it's got a nice SSD and nice good loading times. So there you go. Very fast. So seamless game switching. What do you mean by game switching? Next gen performance, all digital game experience, up to 120. Well, you got to be careful when they say up to. Like what? Well, what can you do on 120? Better with Xbox Game Pass, of course. Game Pass. Play over 100 high quality games. Games optimized for next gen. Lego Star Wars Destiny, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But yeah, as I was saying, when they say up to 120, they might take a game that's not graphically intensive and be like, oh yeah, we can do 120 on this, but everything else, oh yeah, we're going to do 1440p up to 120 FPS, DirectX ray tracing, variable rate shading. I may need to go back to that. November 10th. Oh, yo, that's pretty soon. That's like 2 months from now. Hang on, go back to that frame where it showed all the details. I need more time to read that. Show all the details. Show me. Okay. All digital. Ah, yes, that's right. You can't get hard copies of discs with this. So that is worth mentioning. Personally, I mean, I like digital. I'm the kind of person that has hundreds of games in my Steam library. It's easier to keep track that way. I don't have to worry about losing things. But there's also a downside, of course. I mean, collectors, they're going to want physical copies. Not to mention, you can't really resell a digital copy. So there is that downside, especially when it comes to consoles like that. But, you know, many people, I think, aren't going to care, but some will. It's worth mentioning. 1440p, and it definitely saves the company some money, which is probably why they're able to make this console cheaper. We already knew that was the case with the PlayStation. There would be a cheaper version that didn't have a disc drive. 1440p at up to 120p. You got to be careful with that up to lingo. That's very. I mean, you know, I get it. From their perspective, they could be doing it to cover their butts. Like, so it's not like, oh, 120 FPS. If they say that, then every single game they ever do has to have 120. But it leaves that uncertainty. There's that gray area. What's going to be 120? What's going to be less than 120? How much less than 120, you know? We'd need more information to know for sure. DirectX ray tracing. Okay, yeah, ray tracing is the rage nowadays. Variable rate shading. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Variable refresh rate. Refresh rate is about the frame rate. Variable refresh, I guess I could just change smoothly. I don't know. To be honest, I'm not super familiar with all that lingo. Ultra low latency. Okay. So very low ping. 512 gigabyte SSD. That's a pretty good amount of space. Though, I mean, you know, Warzone. How big is Warzone now? If you wanted to play Call of Duty Warzone on this thing, that's going to eat up a lot of that memory. But I imagine you could expand on it somehow. Maybe not, though. I don't actually know exactly how that would work. If you have slots for more memory, maybe there would be. 4K streaming media playback, 4K upscaling for games. What does that mean? 4K upscale. Does that mean that if you had like a 4K TV, but this console, but no, it's the Xbox Series X that can handle 4K at 60 FPS. So you can upscale this to 4K. I'm actually not entirely sure what that would mean. Does that mean it would be even lower than 60 FPS? And it wouldn't look as good because this is 1440p and not 4K? It's like stretching it. I'm actually not entirely sure. But I guess this is where the meat is. This is where the specs are. It's interesting. But I gotta say, they mention it here, right? Didn't they mention the price point here, or am I crazy? I know I read it elsewhere. Don't they mention in this trailer that it's $299? I'm sure they mentioned it somewhere.
Let me hear you.
I'm sure they did, right? I mean, this is the reveal trailer. Surely they mentioned it. If not, this is $299, and that's what is nuts about this. As next-gen gaming, I mean, quad HD at 120 FPS is insane. With an SSD, so you'll get some solid load times. And it's only for $300, which is really, really cheap. I mean, that's gonna... Sure, I mean, admittedly, I wasn't really even thinking about getting an Xbox, especially considering that their main title, Halo, which I was most excited to get, which would have tempted me to get an Xbox, is not going to be an Xbox exclusive. You can get it on PC, no problem. So it's like, why would I even get an Xbox? There's not really any exclusives that I'm interested in. And I would probably still stand by that. I probably still won't get an Xbox, but I can definitely understand, especially, you know, with the global health situation and money's tight, it makes a lot of sense that people would want to choose this over PlayStation. It's a much cheaper, I mean, if you're not a PC gamer, if you're a console gamer, you're going to choose one or another. And this is just about general gaming. This is a much cheaper way to get a next-gen console. Probably the cheapest way to get a next-gen console that'll enable you to play a lot of next-gen games, no problem. Now, I don't know how well the Xbox Series X is going to do. I mean, I don't see much of a reason to get... I mean, honestly, this does so well that unless you have a lot of extra money... I mean, of course, it is a long-term investment. You don't want to just get the S and then switch to the... Like you want to be pretty committed to the console you get. So, I mean, if you have the money and you know you're committed to Xbox, then it would make sense to get an X. But I imagine this is going to be very popular. These Series S consoles are going to be flying off the shelves, I'm sure. That price point is just insane for the value you get out of it. And that's actually going to give PlayStation some competition. Now, in my case, I will still probably be getting a PS5, not an Xbox, because there are a lot of PlayStation exclusives that I'm looking forward to. And I can't say the same for Xbox. I mean, I'm a PC gamer. At the end of the day, I wouldn't get either one. I wouldn't get an Xbox or a PlayStation. I would just play on PC. That's my favorite. The only time I play on consoles is when they're exclusives. And PlayStation's got a lot of exclusives I'm looking forward to, like, you know, the Demon's Souls remaster, Ratchet & Clank, the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel, etc. Many sequels. I mean, many exclusives that I'm looking forward to. Not the case for the Xbox, but I can definitely understand, because of the value you get at such a strong price point, I could definitely understand why this would be very popular. It makes Microsoft and Xbox look very strong right now. So I'm curious to see how that'll play out. I'll be curious to see what PlayStation announces regarding their price point, and maybe if they have any surprises like Xbox did with this extra console. We had no idea this was coming. We thought it was just going to be the Series X. At any rate, that's all I have to say on this. If you like this video, please leave a like and comment. It does help out a lot. I do upload a new video every single day, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out. I also stream daily on Twitch, starting at 12 p.m. Central and ending at 4 p.m. Central, so make sure you follow me there to catch when I'm live. Link is in the description. But that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you had fun, and I'll catch you next time.